Welcome to the video lecture series on microprocessor and peripheral interface. Today we are going to study the memory accessing and system bus. So in our previous session we have studied the block diagram of microprocessor based system, and there we have studied that CPU, IO ports and memory, these are connected with the help of system bus, means through the address bus, data bus and control bus. So today we are going to study in detail about this system bus. So bus is a set of lines. They are used to transfer the information, and we know that the information is in terms of a binary form. So the binary information is transferred with the help of system bus, and this bus is nothing but the set of lines. If a line is connected to VCC, it will carry logic 1, and if the line is connected to ground, it will carry logic 0. So one line can transfer one bit of data. If we want multiple bits to be transmitted together, then we have to use a set of lines grouped together, and that set of lines is called as a bus. The size of a bus refers to the number of lines. So here we can see, if the 8-bit bus is there, then that 8-bit bus is having 8 number of lines. Similarly, if the bus is having 16-bit bus, then that bus is having 16 lines and so on. That means the size of bus refers to the number of lines. How many number of lines are grouped together, that decides the size of the bus. Now there are mainly 3 types of buses. First is address bus, second is data bus, and third one is the control bus. In this diagram, this is the expanded view of the system block diagram which we have studied. This is CPU, this is memory, and this is IO ports, and we can observe the 3 buses here. This one is address line, or we can say it as a address bus, consists of n number of lines. This is data bus, and you can observe address bus is connected to memory as well as to the IO port. Data bus is connected to memory as well as IO port, and you can observe the 4 lines here: memory read, memory write, IO read and IO write. This is nothing but the control bus. So these buses are together called as a system bus. So system bus is classified, or 3 types of buses are present in systems: address bus, data bus and control bus. First of all, we'll see what is this address bus. So this address bus, it is unidirectional, as we can see in this diagram. If we observe the arrow on this bus, there is only one way arrow, that is coming out from this CPU. That means the address bus is unidirectional, only in a one direction. This address bus carries address where the operation has to be performed, means the address of memory location or the address of IO port is placed on this address bus by this CPU, and the data or the operation that has to be performed is represented by that particular address. The bigger the address bus, more is the memory location. If the address bus is bigger, means the size of the address bus is more, then the memory locations that are accessible are more. Means here, if n number of lines are there, then the total number of memory locations are equals to 2 raised to n. By this way, size of address bus decides the size of total memory locations. The address bus of 1 bit can give a total of 2 addresses. If a single line is there or a single bit address bus is there, then the 2 addresses are possible on that address bus, that are 0 and 1. And since the 2 addresses are there, 2 memory locations are associated with that 2 addresses, and the address bus of 1 bit can access 2 memory locations. Similarly, if 2-bit address bus is there, on that 2-bit address total 4 addresses are possible, that are 00, 01, 10 and 11. Hence, the 2-bit address bus can access total 4 memory locations, and so on. Likewise, for 3-bit, the total addresses will be how much? 2 raised to 3. Okay. So, if the n-bit address bus is there, the total locations that can be accessed are 2 raised to n. Here, one memory location contains 1 byte of data. So, a processor with n-bit address bus can access a memory of 2 raised to n bytes. Here, this is the structure of memory. Memory, as we have seen our previous session, memory is represented in terms of different locations, and the number of locations present in that memory, that is decided by number of lines of address bus. Means the size of address bus decides the number of locations or the size of the memory. If the address bus is having n number of lines, then the memory is having total 2 raised to n number of locations, and that locations are represented here. It is location 0, location 1 up to location 2 raised to n minus 1. So, each location is having a unique address, and that unique address is provided on this address bus. If the number of address lines are 16, then it can address how many memory locations? So, if the 16 number of address lines are there, then the memory locations are equals to 2 raised to n. That means 2 raised to 16, which is equal to 65536, or generally it is called as a 64K memory locations. So, for 16 address lines, we are having 64K memory locations. So, here is one table indicating such type of memory locations for number of address lines specified from 0 to 30. So, for 0 address lines, it is 2 raised to 0 equals to 1. That means 1 memory location. 2 raised to 2 means 4. So, 2 raised to 3 means 8. So, 8 memory locations are there. 2 raised to 4 means 16 memory location. 2 raised to 5 means 32 memory locations. 2 raised to 6, 64. 2 raised to 7, 128, and so on. So, important here you can observe 2 raised to 10. So, 2 raised to 10 is equal to 1024. So, this 1024 memory locations are considered as a 1K. Similarly, 2 raised to 20 is represented as 1K into 1K, that is nothing but 1M. 2 raised to 30 is considered as 1 giga, and 2 raised to 40 is considered as a 1 tera. Now, we will take one example here. If a processor has 24 address lines, how many memory locations it can access? All of you try to solve this in your notebook. Capital N is equal to 24. So if capital N is equal to 24, how many memory locations can be accessed by the processor? So pause the video here and try to find out the answer. How you can find out the answer? It is 2 raised to capital N, which is equal to 2 raised to 24, and it is represented as 2 raised to 2 into 2 raised to 20. In our previous slide we have seen 2 raised to 20 is nothing but 1 MB. So 2 raised to 2 into 2 raised to 20, here it should be 2 raised to 4. Okay, here it is 2 raised to 4 into 2 raised to 20. It is nothing but 2 raised to 24. So 2 raised to 4 is 16 and 2 raised to 20 is 1 M. So total memory locations can be accessed are 16 MB. Okay, next, a processor has 4 GB memory. How many address lines are required? Try to find out. Now here you have to do the reverse method. Write down the answer in your notebook, pause the video, solve the question and then again start the video. Yes, and here is the answer. 4 GB is represented as 4 into 1 GB. 4 is equal to 2 raised to 2 and 1 GB is nothing but 2 raised to 30. So it is equal to 2 raised to 32. So here capital N is equal to 32. So here the total 32 address lines are required for 4 GB of memory. So all of you understood? Now we'll move towards the next bus. That next bus is data bus. This data bus is bidirectional, as we can see in this diagram. On this is nothing but the data bus. On this data bus the arrows are on both the sides. That means data bus is bidirectional, but here address line is unidirectional, since the arrow is coming out from this CPU, means only CPU can put the address on this address bus. Okay, and that address is of either memory location or of IO ports, but the data bus is bidirectional, means the CPU can put the data on the data bus to be written into the memory location or the data for the IO ports. Or in reverse, what happens, the data from memory location can be put on the data bus, or data from IO ports can be put on the data bus for the use of the CPU. Okay, that's why data bus is bidirectional. So as we have seen in this diagram, data bus is bidirectional and it connects the IO ports and the CPU. The number of lines used in the data bus is equal to the size of data word. What is the size of data word? Based on that, the number of lines are present in the data bus. Many devices in system will connect their outputs to same data bus. Means what happens, at a time to the processor many input output devices are connected, and all that input output devices of system will connect their output to the same data bus, because processor is having only single data bus, but one device at a time will have its output, means only one device can access that data bus at a time. Next one is control bus. So this control bus is generally used to send the control signals. As we have seen in previous slide, that many devices can connect to the same data bus, but only one device can have the access of that data bus. Okay, and for that purpose the control bus is having important function to do. So there are different control signals which are sent on this control bus, and with the help of that control signal, who is going to access the data bus, that is decided. And by this way, at a time only one device can access that data bus. So mainly there are four type of control signals which are present on the control bus: memory read, memory write, IO read and IO write. As we have seen in the previous diagram here, memory read signal, memory write signal, IO read and IO write. So this memory read and write, these two signals are for memory, while this IO read and IO write, these two signals are for the IO ports. Okay, so these are the four control signals. So here we have seen the three buses which are a part of system bus: address bus, data bus and control bus. And we have also seen what is the purpose of each bus. Now here we'll see the combined utilization of three buses, how these three buses are working all together. For that, what we'll do, we'll take one example. Let's consider a byte is to be read from the memory location 18F8H. A byte is nothing but 8 number of bits. These 8 number of bits has to be read from the location, that location address is given 18F8. So CPU want to read 8 bits of data from this 18F8H location. So what happens? So here there are three steps involved while reading the data from the memory location, and how these three buses are working. Step 1, first of all, since the data has to be read from this memory location, so CPU will send the address of desired location on address bus. That means CPU will send this address 18F8H on address bus. Once the CPU has sent the address on address bus, after that CPU will send memory read signal on control bus. First of all, address bus is in function. After that, control bus is in function. Since this read operation is related with the memory location, that's why memory read signal is used and that is released on the control bus. And after this, the data bus will come in picture. So in step 3, memory read signal, it will enable the memory device, and then once the memory device is enabled, the memory device will put the data which is stored on the location 18F8H on the data bus, and then the data will travel from memory to the CPU. So by this way, this is the utilization of three buses by the CPU. First of all, CPU will send the address on address bus, then CPU will send the control signal on control bus, and then the memory read signal is memory read signal enables the memory device, and then the data is put on the data bus. So by this way, the data read will be done. While writing the data, again similar type of steps are performed. Can you identify that steps? Yes. First of all, on which memory location CPU has to send the or write the data, that memory location is sent on the address bus. Then CPU will send the memory location where the data has to be read, and after that what happens? While sending the control signal, memory write control signal is sent by CPU on control bus, and that memory write signal will enable the memory device, and then the data present on the data bus will be written on the memory location. So before this step 3, the data is put on the data bus. By this way, the data read and write operations are performed. So in this video lecture, we have seen the different system bus and the functions of system bus. Thank you for watching the video.